Welcome to the second episode of The Data Dealer. And in this episode, we are going to look at the popularity and the win ratio of the various identities in Android Netrunners, again based on 40,000 games played on Octagon. And what we can see here are two large bars, and these represent the corporate or runner advantage and disadvantage. So we see there's an implied line here, and if the bar is above, then there's an advantage for a particular site, and if it's below, there's a disadvantage. And each identity has two bars, the one on the left representing its popularity, and at the zero line, the percentage of people who pick a particular identity is equal to the percentage of identities that identity represents. For example, in the beginning we've got 4 corporate identities, so being on that line, which NBN is, means that there's precisely a quarter of players playing that identity, and if it's below, it's less than a quarter. If it's above, it's more than a quarter. And as new identities appear in data packs, this cutoff value changes, but we still get to see which identities are played more than expected and which are played less. And the second one is pretty much the same as these corporation versus runner bars, but identity dependent. So if that bar is going up, a particular identity wins more than half the games it's playing, and if it's going down, it loses most games. And right at the beginning, we can see that 2 corporations are actually doing pretty well. Jinteki winning more than half of the games, and Wayland doing the same. But both are played less often than average, and NBN is really doing badly, and HB is doing even worse, and that produces this advantage to the runner side we see. And Noise is not winning a lot. Noise is winning less than half games, but is really overrepresented, and Gabe is winning an awful lot, and Kate is winning slightly above average, but both are underrepresented. And it's interesting that the first week of Octagon play saw quite a bit of Noise, and both recommended starter factions are underrepresented. But let's see how this progresses. And we can see that Jinteki is going up in terms of numbers, but every single corp identity gets worse at winning games. And Noise is winning more games. Gabe is still winning not only more than half the games, but also still substantially more than the runner average. And even Kate is winning more than half games. So a complete rout early on. And really we see Gabe dominating quite a lot of the timeline. And even this early on, it becomes apparent that Gabe is really strong. A little later, everything has moved quite close to the midline. The runner advantage isn't quite as strong, and there's one corporation, namely HB, which is now doing better than would be expected if it wasn't a game of Netrunner but a coin flip. and a lot of people are playing HB, and we can see more corporate factions doing well. NBN is really the only corporate faction at this point that's doing badly, and Gabe is really the only runner doing well. And the result is that we have a slight corporate advantage a couple of weeks in, and that's getting even stronger. But it's quickly returning to the runner side. And if you look closely, Noise isn't doing particularly well. It's basically half the games. Kate is doing worse than half the games. It's really Gabe that carries this, and now Noise is helping, but uh, Gabe continues to push this advantage, and um, a lot of times you hear people say that the runner has an advantage, particularly in advanced play, but it's really Gabe, and now you can see there's Noise also going strong, but um, Noise has good times and bad times, and Gabe pretty much has no bad times. And we can see now it's swinging back to the corporation, and Gabe is still winning more than half games. Um, on the corporation side, there's no corporation with a less than 50% win ratio at this point. And Gabe is still winning more than half of its games. And as the corporate advantage wanes, mostly driven by HB doing badly because every other corporate faction is doing well, um, we see that on the runner side, it's really Gabe pushing forward. So at this point, it's Gabe doing well against HB. That seems to be resulting in the runners taking over once more. But no, but yes. A lot of HB plays and an ever more increasing number of HB players. NBN doing really well, but reduced in player number. And we still see the same pattern um, of Gabe really carrying this. And again, the gap closes. This is driven by NBN doing really well, by HB doing slightly better than average, and there's a lot of HB players, and a lot of uh, losses from Noise, but and from Kate, which is gaining popularity. And that's always the other factor, which factions are gaining popularity. And now at this point, there's dead even balance between corporation and runner, and we can see that Gabe is the only runner which has a positive win ratio. And on the corporation side, every single corporation is doing quite well, um, with the possible exception of NBN isn't doing quite well, and HB is doing not quite as well. But it's really at this point a weird situation. And now we see runner advantage rising again, in this case driven by Noise. Noise is doing far better. HB is doing really badly, and all the other corporations are doing well. So that's something that happens a lot of times, and now NBN is doing worse, but Jinteki and Wayland are still up. Kate is really down, but not played a lot, not a lot of Kate players at this point, and that's mainly what produces this advantage to the runner. It's noise and even more so gape. Gape is really the runner that is producing a measurable advantage for the runner side. And in this case with a little help from noise. And now every corporation is in the minus because a lot of people play Gape and they are doing really well. About a third of people are playing Noise and they are really doing well. And almost nobody is playing Kate, and Kate is the only runner that is not doing quite as fantastic. And that's the release of the new data pack. And what we can see immediately is nobody gives uh, a hoot about the new identities. They drop in popularity as they hit. Nobody wants to play Wizard and nobody wants to play Stronger Together, which is somewhat weird in the latter case because Stronger Together at this point is the corporation with the best win ratio. It's really doing great at this point. And Wizard possibly rightly unplayed, but people are moving away from Gape as well, even though Gape is really, really strong, and once again almost single-handedly keeping an advantage for the runner side. And interestingly, a lot of people move to Kate, and a possible explanation is that her link allows the combo with Spinal Modem. Basically the Wizard console, which obviously nobody is using in Wizard. Noise is getting a lot more play, probably because of Imp. And these aren't doing quite as well as Gape. Gape is still the strong house, but Gape is played almost as little as Wizard is. And on the corporation side, we can see that Wayland has a positive, Jinteki has a positive, NBN is slightly positive and gets played more now, while HB not quite sold on that. And we can see Kate really running out of bounds here. My screen is too small to capture how many people play Kate at this point. And Kate is not doing well. And neither is Stronger Together. Stronger Together is now the corp faction that can do the least. And Jinteki really rules at this point. Jinteki is really doing well. And look at this. Gape is doing not so great for a start. I'm going to rewind a bit here. And we can see he's falling down for a moment shortly after the release of What Lies Ahead. And this period where Gape isn't doing well, isn't played a lot, Kate is played a lot, is a time where the corporation has somewhat of an advantage. And now this is moving in the other direction. Both Anarch identities, Noise and Wizard, are now doing well. Jinteki has taken a downward turn, and Gape is moving back to strong. Kate decks are going away, and the second Jinteki identity has just moved around, and so it's replicating perfection, and replicating perfection, unpopular and bad. um, Pretty much all new identities start this way. They aren't really played a lot. A lot of people modifying their existing decks rather than switching to a new identity. Um, and it takes some time to get the hang of the new playstyle. And so every time a new data pack comes around, when there's a corp identity, the corp takes a hit. When there's a runner identity, the runners take a hit, and we're going to see the same thing pretty much with chaos theory later on. Um, it it's somewhat interesting. Um, there's this balance between the two sides depends crucially on who has got the latest identity, and they're generally not doing well. New toys don't make for a good side. Um, and we can see Stronger Together getting even worse. Stronger Together is now losing so many games it isn't funny anymore, and that's reflected in the popularity. And the same holds for uh, replicating perfection. And we can see the original Haas Bioroid Engineering the Future is doing just slightly below average, and the same is true of NBN. And two corporate factions, the two flatline factions, Wayland and Jinteki Personal Evolution, they are really doing great. And they get played quite a lot. But still, the weakness of the other corporate identities allows the runners to be ahead. And the advantage on the runner side, Noise is doing slightly better than expected, and Gabe again is doing really well. So it's really Gabe, and I will keep saying this as Noise also starts helping. It's really Gabe, and to a lesser degree, it's Noise. And as time passes, we don't see a lot. And there's chaos theory, and we're going to see exactly what we always see with the new identities: a drop in popularity, and it's not really doing all that great. Of course, Kate isn't popular and not doing great either. Um, Slight runner advantage is maintained because of Gabe, and Wizard and Noise are doing quite well as well. Um, Engineering the Future maintains a very good win ratio, though. Uh, Personal Evolution is still going strong, and Wayland is still going strong. And it's NBN, Stronger Together, and Replicating Perfections that are still letting the corp side down. And short time later, we're again dead even. No advantage for either corp or runner side. And again, the strong runners are Gabe, to a little extent Wizard, but really Noise is second. And on the corporation side, it's Engineering the Future. I think Personal Evolution is itself at 50-50 here, and the same is true of Wayland. So it's really Haas Bioroid for the corp, and Gabe and Noise for the runner. And at this point, people start playing Chaos Theory. A lot of quick, big rig decks entering the scene and giving the corporation a slight advantage, because Chaos Theory doesn't win a lot of games. in particular against Haas-Bayreuth, and NBN is also uh, in the black for once, and now it's back at losing games. And again, we're dead even. Um, the runner side pulled up by Gabe. Everybody else not doing great. The corporation side, it's engineering the future, personal evolution, and Wayland. Um, and there's a bit of a swing. People possibly disappointed by Chaos Theory start to placate, and it's benefiting the corporation. NBN is doing slightly better, and Haas-Bayreuth is still the powerhouse here. And people turn away from Kate again. Um, at this point, for some reason, Wayland is doing really bad. NBN is really doing bad. The only thing the corp side has going for it is Haas-Bayreuth, engineering the future. And for the third time, a new identity. No, it's the fourth new identity, right? Let's see, 1, 2, 3. No, it's the fifth new identity, and again, it takes an immediate swing downwards. Though it didn't take as much as a swing in terms of popularity. That's happening now. So we're pretty much at the end with study and static out, and so we have because we build it, and because we build it now loses popularity and gets really bad. And stronger together tries not to be that bad, but it's still bad. And the runner side, Gabe, noise. The corporation side, HB doing well, personal evolution doing well, and the original Wayland doing well. Not enough to swing it for the corp side. And we can see Chaos Theory is getting unpopular again, and short burst in popularity for Stronger Together goes away, and we're really moving to the end here. And in the final week, Stronger Together played few games, wasn't very popular, and lost all of them. I think in the first video I said they are gone. They aren't gone. They just lost all their games. So there is no valid data to calculate the difference between the duration of games they won and the duration of games they lost because they didn't win anything. At this time, Core Wayland way up, Core Jinteki way up, Core Haas-Bayreuth doing well, Noise down for some reason, Wizard way up, and Gabe still up. There has been one short swing for Gabe in the entire time the game has been played on Octagon, where Gabe hasn't consistently won more games than Gabe lost. And in a lot of cases, the advantage the runner side has is really the advantage that Gabe has. And there's been a lot of discussion about noise being overpowered, and I think if you look at the history of the game wins here, he's really not as powerful as Gabe. And right now, at the end of our analysis, he isn't even as powerful as Wizard. And it's really quite interesting to see that on the corp side, the only faction that hasn't really started to shine is NBN, and the new identities aren't doing well. Um, None of them are doing doing better than average. Um, Even though the corp has a slight advantage here, stronger together uh, lost everything. Um, Replicating perfection lost a lot, um, and because we built it, also lost a lot. Um, not not really all that great, and it's really the the core identities minus NBN, and that might change when Project Beal comes out and the new NBN identity, which I'm pretty sure won't do as well as core NBN, but with the additional cards for NBN that will come with uh, with that data pack, I'm pretty sure NBN will do well as well. Um, and the same is pretty much true of the runner side. I mean, Kate hasn't been doing well from the start, and the new additions um, have quite mixed performance. Wizard has times when he shines. Uh, Chaos Theory pretty much doesn't have these times, and Shaper in general seems to be weaker than the other runner factions. Um, and a lot of the changes we see between corporation wins and runner wins go down to how much do runners play Gape. If runners play a lot of Gape, then the corporation doesn't stand a lot of chances. But there's a new criminal identity just around the corner, and I'm pretty sure that will crush Gape to some degree if that gets a lot of play. Um, we're going to see. Um, I think it's interesting that Wayland picked up a lot when Study in Static hit, uh, but the same hasn't been true for all the factions. Um, HB has certainly benefited from uh, some cards that have been released, and at the end there's a slight advantage to the corp side, which is also unexpected. Um, in these wild swings in games won to either side, they are gone. It's much more moderate changes over time. And again, I'm going to play this down at 40 frames a week, so enjoy a brief animation of the Android Netrunner metagame on Octagon. These swings are pretty wild, and it's starting to settle down. First two bad new identities. Next bad new identity. And Chaos Theory drops. And dropping is the appropriate term here. And finally, there comes Wayland. So, thanks for watching. See you next time.